Just a couple years ago, the car market was on fire. You couldn't find a new truck on the lot. Used cars were selling for more than they cost brand new. Dealers were printing money, charging $5,000, $10,000 over MSRP, and getting away with it. It was chaos, but it was profitable chaos. Manufacturers cut production during COVID, then demand came roaring back. Inventory dried up, consumers were desperate, and dealers were loving it. Fast forward to 2025. It's a bloodbath. We're talking empty showrooms, unsold EVs piling up, customers vanishing, and overheads that just keep climbing. And now, dealerships are starting to die, quietly, one by one. Over 25% of US dealers are either shut down, listed for sale, or cutting staff to the bone. This isn't just a slowdown, this is a meltdown. What happened? Well, a perfect storm. Interest rates shot up. The average monthly payment on a new car, it's now over $750. Used cars aren't much better. Loans are harder to get. And repossessions, they're up by 28% since last year. The golden goose, cheap credit, is dead. And just as the market cooled, automakers decided it was the perfect time to push EVs down every dealer's throat. Mandatory EV training, six-figure investments in chargers and infrastructure, massive allocations of vehicles customers don't want and can't afford. Dealers didn't sign up for this. They didn't ask to become beta testers for an unready market. But now they're stuck, buried under EVs, watching foot traffic vanish, while OEMs sit in boardrooms dreaming up their next green initiative. And here's the worst part. The manufacturers don't seem to care. They've got government tax credits, Wall Street hype, and ESG points to chase. But the dealers? They've got rent to pay, staff to feed, families to support. And now in 2025, a growing number of them are asking, how long can we survive this? Let's get one thing straight. Dealers aren't anti-EV, they're anti-BS. For the last 3 years, automakers have been shoving electric vehicles onto dealer lots like they're the next iPhone. But here's the problem. EVs aren't selling like iPhones, not even close. They sit, and sit, and sit. The average EV takes over 90 days to sell, compared to just 36 for a gas-powered vehicle. And we're not talking about obscure brands, we're talking about Ford, Chevy, Hyundai, Kia. Everyone is getting burned. Customers walk in, test drive the EV, and then ask, how long does it take to charge? Where's the nearest fast charger? Why does my range drop 40% in the cold? And then they leave. Meanwhile, the government's got a different plan. They want 2/3 of all new vehicles to be electric by 2032. Automakers are scrambling to comply. So what do? They dump EVs onto dealers. They issue quotas. They cut back on gas models. They make electric the default, whether the customer wants it or not. But here's the punchline. The customer doesn't want it. At least not yet. Survey after survey shows the same thing. Most Americans are skeptical. They're worried about price. They're worried about charging. They're worried about range. And they're not ready to buy. But nobody told the OEMs that. Now, dealers are stuck holding the bag. Tens of thousands of dollars tied up in inventory that doesn't move. EVs that require special service bays, expensive training, different tools, different parts, and all of it forced onto the lot like a ticking time bomb. One dealer from Indiana said it best. We're being told to sell the future while drowning in the present. And they're not wrong. Because while EV hype dominates headlines, reality paints a different picture. Infrastructure is broken, support is inconsistent, margins are razor thin, and consumer confidence is shaky at best. This is not a revolution. This is a rollout gone horribly wrong. And as a result, dealers are bleeding out. Some are slashing staff. Some are cutting hours. Some are just walking away. Because in this new green future, it's not the customer who's being listened to. It's the lobbyists, the headlines, and the politicians. And the people actually selling the cars, they're being left behind. Let's talk about the elephant in the showroom: money. Because it's not just EV mandates or bad planning killing dealers, it's the credit crunch. The same force that once fueled a record-setting auto boom is now dragging the industry into the dirt. In 2021, if you had a pulse, you got a loan. 0% APR, 84-month terms, leases with no down payment. Banks were throwing money at car buyers like it was confetti. Today, not even close. Interest rates are the highest they've been in over 2 decades. The average new car loan now sits around 8%, sometimes higher for subprime buyers. Used car rates, even worse. Lenders are tightening the screws: fewer approvals, stricter income verification, higher down payments, more denials, and guess who's stuck in the middle? Dealers. They've got floor plans, giant loans to keep inventory on the lot, with ballooning interest. They're paying thousands every month just to have cars sit unsold. Every week those cars don't move, that debt grows. Meanwhile, customers are getting spooked. The average monthly car payment in America is now over $750. That's more than some people pay in rent. And for what? A car that depreciates the second you drive it off the lot? With tech you don't trust, and a battery that might cost more than your mortgage? Yeah, people are walking away. Loan defaults are rising, repossession lots are filling up, and lenders, they're pulling back even more. It's a death spiral. Dealers can't sell because banks won't lend. Banks won't lend because buyers can't pay. Buyers can't pay because cars are too expensive. Because dealers are overloaded with inventory they have to move at a loss. And while all this is happening, OEMs are still demanding volume, still pushing quotas, still penalizing dealers for not hitting targets, even when those targets are completely out of touch with economic reality. This isn't just a rough patch. This is a structural collapse of the very thing that made the auto market run: access to credit. And for thousands of dealers across the country, the question isn't when will it get better? It's how do we survive until next quarter? And for some, they won't. So what happens now? The signs aren't good. Big dealer groups are quietly selling off stores. Mom and pop lots are disappearing overnight. Service departments are cutting hours. Sales floors are half empty. And behind the scenes, it's panic. Some OEMs are already changing their tune, delaying EV targets, rolling back mandates, offering desperate incentives. But for many dealers, it's too little too late. The damage is done. They mortgaged their futures on a vision the public wasn't ready for. They borrowed to build out EV infrastructure. They hired staff to hit sales quotas. They trusted the hype. And now they're paying the price. Because this isn't just about cars, it's about a massive industry, one of America's biggest, being pushed to transform faster than the market can absorb. And the boots on the ground, the dealers, are bearing the brunt. So when people say, why are dealers resisting EVs? They're missing the point. It's not resistance, it's survival. Dealers aren't fighting the future, they're fighting for the present, for their businesses, for their communities, for their employees, for everything they've built over generations. And while the media spins a story of greedy car dealers resisting change, the truth is far uglier. An industry is being gutted from the inside by mandates, by corporate arrogance, and by a fantasy that skipped over reality. What's next? If things don't change, if OEMs don't listen, if the market keeps rejecting the EV overload, then yeah, more dealers will vanish, more jobs will disappear, and America's car business, once the envy of the world, will become another casualty of bad planning, blind ideology, and corporate overreach. So buckle up, because 2025, it's not a speed bump, it's a reckoning. And this time, there might not be a bailout.